What's up, guys? Welcome back for season 4, episode 3 of Mic Drop Music Talk, and I am here today with Tiffany Day.
Get what I want and I don't wanna wait. You could call me a pusher, but I won't ever make you wait. Nah. Yeah, call me what you want, cause a bitch ain't afraid. You can get nothing from me, I'm fucking here to take my place. Yeah. I think I got a problem, someone let me solve it. Get fucking up and when I really want it. I'm psycho, yeah. And I know. Some sport bitch.
That rhymed. That sounded like a talk show.
Yeah,
Today
really
with Tiffany Day. And this is your first podcast ever. I'm so honored.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you for coming.
A lot, so
thank God.
Yeah.
Like that's what I need is a chatty guest. So let's take it all the way back. We know you originally from YouTube, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was looking at your covers and they were so adorable. You were just like the cutest little muffin ever. When did you get started with all of that?
So I grew up in a very Asian household, and from a really early age, my parents put me in like classical piano and violin and stuff, and then I kind of grew up just being surrounded by classical music, and then when I got older, when I was like 13, 14, maybe that's when I was like, okay, like, kind of want to learn how this guitar thing goes, and then I asked my parents, like, oh, do you think maybe you could, like, pay for lessons for guitar? And my mom was like, I paid for, like, 8 years of, like, piano and violin, and you decided to quit. So she was like, you can learn guitar, like, by yourself if you're really serious. And I was like, you know what? The internet exists now, so I will. So I texted my, like, older brother, and I was like, can I just borrow your guitar for, like, the weekend? And he was like, sure. He gave it to me. I started searching up, like, YouTube tutorials, and I just started, like, learning. Like, I think the first song I ever learned on guitar was Hello by Adele.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It was good. Hello. It was pretty easy, yeah.
It's the...
But, yeah, it was really good. I had never really fallen in love with an instrument like that before.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like piano and violin always felt like, not like forced, but, it was kind of like a...
I did the same 3.
Mm-hmm.
I did piano, violin, guitar, like in that order. That's so funny.
But, like, guitar was definitely, like, I had, like, a honeymoon phase with that instrument. It's, like, every day I'd spend, like, 4+ hours practicing, and it was because, like, I really wanted to, and I, like, loved it so much, and it was just fun for me. And then after the weekend was over, I was like, okay, like, I'll return your guitar. And my brother was like, you know what, like, I don't really touch it anymore. Like, you can just keep it. And that was, like, my first guitar ever.
Aww,
and so I still have it to this day. But, yeah, that's... And then, guitar... And then I think learning guitar kind of opened the world of, like, songwriting. And then that's when I moved out to LA and did all that stuff.
Really? Wait, so yeah, where did you start? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a town called Wichita in Kansas.
Kansas?
Yes.
I would have never guessed.
A lot of people say that to me because I feel like I don't really give off Kansas.
You don't give
vibes.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Although I don't even really know what a Kansas vibe is, to be fair. Like, what is a Kansas vibe?
That's a good question.
Is it country?
It's like, yeah, like country, definitely more like...
I just think Wizard of Oz.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
But I know that's like...
Definitely more like southern influences, like... Think like Texas, but not as hardcore.
Okay.
But
like a soft
still
Texas.
Kind of, yeah, but still definitely in the Midwest.
In the Yeehaw family.
Yeah, in the Yeehaw family, absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. But
yeah.
you seem to avoid the Yeehaw culture. You're just like, no, I'm going to Hollywood. Bye.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like I never really fully... I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like I got some yeehaw in my heart.
Yeah.
I love corn.
You can yeehaw when necessary.
Yeah, but I do...
I get that.
Enjoy the culture and, like, the people and just, I guess, the people's priorities out here, like, in California. And just, like, I think I like the more creative fields and the more, like, grind mindset that everyone's kind of got going on here more than I do. Because Kansas is, like, very slow. It's very peaceful. And it's a great place to grow up. Like,
yes.
I'm not going to shit talk it because, like, it is my hometown. And, like,
I get it.
owe a lot to the city. But, like, it's also just, it's too slow for me now as a 23-year-old. Like, I don't think I could, like, be there right now because I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself, you know?
No, totally. I'm from Florida, so I very much relate to everything you just said, down to the yeehaw, slow pace, everything. And I got the hell out of here, or out of there too. But how long have you been here? And you immediately were just like hitting the music scene, or like what has been your path? I
left when I was like 18. It was like a mom, dad, I think I'm gonna go to LA and like pursue my dreams. And they were like, no, you're going to college.
I was just gonna say, was it like the total movie cliche of
yeah,
like,
you know, it was like,
mom and dad, that's your dream, like,
right? Yeah. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I think I'm gonna take a gap year. Like, I think I'm gonna college.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna go to college. And mom was like, no, like, I know you, and if you take a gap year, you're never gonna go to university.
Gap life.
Yeah. And she was like, let's, make a compromise. Maybe you find like a college in Los Angeles that you really like, and then you can, pursue music while you're still in school. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And so then I applied to a bunch of colleges on the West Coast, and Loyola Marymount University is actually the one that I had ended up choosing. Because it gave me a lit scholarship, and shit's expensive out here. So like,
oh, I know.
I went there. And honestly, as soon as I got there, I was, like, telling everyone I met, I was like, guys, I'm a musician, and I'm going to drop out. And, like, they'd all be like, okay. And, like, I never dropped out. I did finish, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I do think it was, like, the best decision for me because, like, I had other, like, ideas of what I wanted to do, which was, like, one was to just go to, like, Berklee College of Music and, like, do the whole conservatory route and just, like, actually learn. But I think that moving to LA was, like, the best decision because I was able to, like, have college and have, like, a whole life and community of people that wasn't fully tied to, like, music and my career.
Yes.
And then I was still able to, like, go out and, like, meet producers and, like, people in the industry and, like, almost, like, have, like, a foot in early, if that, like, while I was still in college. So it was honestly one of the, like, best decisions of my life to do that. So
what's your degree in?
I studied communications with a minor in public relations.
Coming for my job. Jeez, should I be worried?
I originally got in through there's College of Science, and I was gonna like study biology, and I was gonna go pre-med.
Whoa.
Like the stereotypical Asian. But it's not because my parents like wanted me to or anything. It was like genuinely like I'm very interested in like medicine and just like the human body, and like I wanted to study like neuroscience specifically. And then I like got there and I was like, I can't be a full-time science kid and also a musician at the same time.
No.
So I like was like kind of wrestling with it, and I was like, you know what, like I came out to LA to do music. If I wanted to like really study neuroscience, like I feel like I probably should just like picked a college that was like good for neuroscience. And I was like, I'm just gonna commit to it. So I ended up switching my major so that I could have a bit of like a lighter workload. And on top of that, like I didn't really know what I wanted to like do with my degree, and I feel like comm is like a very broad, you can do like a lot of things with it. So I was like, I'm just gonna study comm, and it worked out pretty well. Like there were definitely a lot of like stressful points in college just because like it's funny, like I love writing songs but I hate writing anything else. Like I don't really like, I love math, my brain works very like scientifically, and just like I pretty much like was struggling quite a bit in college because I chose a major that required like the most amount of writing possible, so there'd be like 20-30 page papers, and I'm just like,
I was just gonna ask you that if you found it hard to balance pursuing music on top of college, and also your YouTube career really did take off, guys. Yeah. You have like almost 1 million followers, I think, or subscribers, whatever they call it on YouTube. Yeah. But like, was that kind of a passion of yours too? Were you thinking maybe you were gonna go that route at one point?
So I had this like video of mine go viral when I was 17. I like sang into this well. It was very
You sang into a well?
Yeah, I sang the song Hallelujah into this well. Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Wow.
it went super viral on Twitter, and my mom was like, oh, you should build a YouTube channel and, like, just build with the momentum. And I was like, okay.
Good advice, Mom. Yeah.
Yeah, great advice.
Yeah.
Mom, if you're watching this, that
Shout
was the
out,
best
Mom.
advice you've ever given me. But anyways, I started this YouTube channel, and then it was very much, like, covers. And it was very organic, too. It was never like, okay, every Friday, like, cover at 8 p.m.
Like it was
very much
now,
like, I record a cover at 3 a.m. in the morning. And then I'm like, okay,
No
upload.
edit.
Yeah,
Post.
literally, I'm like, this sounds okay, upload.
Straight to internet.
Yeah, so I think because I was so, like, organic with it, it wasn't, like, super thought out, like, things just started gaining momentum, and then it just kind of kept, like, rolling, and, like, by the end of my senior year, I had, like, 500,000 subscribers, and I was like, okay, I'm moving to LA, like, you know, I got the numbers, but, no, so I get out there, and, like, my first goal or whatever is to, like, no longer be perceived as a YouTuber, because I think I, like, kind of gained momentum on the platform, but now I was, like, the one thing I've wanted to do from, like, the start since I was, like, 5 years old is just, like, be my own artist. And so for a while, the goal was actually to kind of, like, transition away
Distance
from
yourself
YouTube.
from it, yeah.
But, like, the plan was to kind of convert all of the YouTube, like, listeners and followers into, like, Spotify and just, like, streaming platform listeners. But you learn the hard way that, like, people who are on YouTube love to stay on YouTube. Like,
Girl.
they don't leave.
Don't I know it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had, like, the reverse thing, actually, where, like, Spotify seems to be more poppin', but YouTube is, like, it really is. People are very loyal to their platforms. Like,
absolutely.
if they have a favorite, they're good.
Yeah. And it was
so true.
It was hard. It took me, like, 2 years to, like, fully even feel like I wasn't a YouTuber anymore. And, like, it's interesting because I feel like what ended up happening is, like, I ended up just building my own, like, audience on Spotify that, like, didn't really have much to do with YouTube. Like, there would be some people still that'd be like, oh, I've, like, been listening to you since your YouTube days, but, like, a lot of fans that I meet even now, just, like, at my shows and stuff, will be like, oh, I was with you since, like, the Gonna Be Okay days, or, like, and they're, like, talking about, like, my original songs at that point, and so I'm like, you don't know about my past, but, like, you know, like, yeah, it was definitely a bit of a struggle, like, those 2 years, but I'm glad that they happened, and I'm glad that I was able to kind of, like, make it out.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like that is actually a perfect transition into our game section. If you want to play a game?
Yes, I'm ready. Okay.
All right, guys, so we're going to get into our little game section. Do you remember there's this old song? It's like a country song, I think, and they go, let's give them something to talk about.
I've never
Maybe you
heard
just
that.
don't recognize my, like, amazing cover. It goes,
Let's give them something to talk about. How about love, love, scuba dive, daddy, dig it, I don't know.
I like to come up with, like, a corny name for every game.
Yeah.
So this one is, let's give him something to talk about.
Ah.
See what I did there?
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that's why I get paid the big bucks. Okay, so basically, guys, we're going to go through Tiffany's TikTok, and we're going to get the BTS, kind of similar to the Instagram Stories game we played a few seasons ago, but this time we're going to get all of the stories behind TikTok. This is pretty juicy stuff. I'm excited because your TikToks were cracking me up, and I personally had to know the backstory, so I feel like other people are curious too. So we're going to start off with this one, which is rocking about 2.2 million views right now, so you cracked up a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you were playing your set. The caption says, I was playing my set last night, and I didn't know the music had stopped.
I was playing my set last night, and I didn't know the music had stopped. It was still playing in my headphones.
Please elaborate.
Man.
Put us in that moment of how you felt.
Well, it was the second show of the tour. It was in Phoenix, and I was still kind of just trying to, like, get the hang of the set and whatever. And,
Right.
like, so, like, I was using, like, a DDJ. It's like a smaller controller. But there's like this fade option in the middle where you can basically slide it to the right and it'll play the track on the right, and if you slide it to the left, then it'll like play the track on the left, but it'll like mute the right one.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So usually it stays in the middle, and then you have like the actual DJs don't come for me, but like the like faders, the volume guys.
Yes.
And I usually mainly mix with the volume guys and not the like knob down here at the bottom, and so I'll just like turn each track individually. And I like had my headphones on. It was really fucking loud, and like I got so many comments being like, "This is why DJs wear headphones on like one ear only," and I'm like, okay, I know that now. Like, but I had my headphones on and they were blasting, and I was transitioning into this other song, and I think the funniest part is too that I like added reverb to the one track so that it could like kind of seamlessly fade, and then the next song could come in. But the slider at the bottom was like slid all the way to the left. Mm-hmm. So like, basically like when I added the new song in, nothing was playing because the slider was like slid all the way over to the left side, so like the new song was on the right side. I don't know, this is confusing, but basically I just did it. Nothing was playing out loud. I could still hear it in my headphones though because I had the fucking cue on, so I was just going.
Well, that's the best part. Like, you're like
right, and like both headphones in, like I'm not paying attention to anyone. I'm like, yeah, like people are. And
they're loving this.
I look up and I take off one headphone to start the next transition, and I look up and they're like, it's just silent. And I was like. And I was like, oh my god.
That's what I was gonna say. Did somebody in the crowd be like,
embarrassing.
Nothing's on?
Kind of, not really. Like, I couldn't even hear what they were saying because I was just like, it was just blasting in my ears. But as soon as I took one like headphone off, I was just like, oh my god, like, I can't believe it's just been fucking silent this whole time.
So did you try and play it off?
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, like, there's no music coming now, and everyone started laughing, and I was like, and I didn't know, like, the problem at the moment, like, I didn't know it was because of the fader, so I was, like, panicking inside. I was like, oh my god, how do I fix this, I was, like, looking around, and I saw it, and I was like, okay, I know the solution, stay calm, and so I switched it back to the middle, and I, like, found a part in the song that, like, instantly kind of, like, started the beat again, and I just, like, clicked, and everyone went crazy, and I was like,
my gosh.
I was like... Honestly, after that happened, I was so fucking embarrassed. Like, I had a horrible night. That was one of the, like, worst nights of tour, because, like, I felt like I didn't do well, like, with, like, the show, too, and then I,
well, that just throws you off your balance, like, naturally. That would be hard to maintain, like, your usual flow and momentum when you just get knocked off your course so dramatically.
Dude, it was just a really bad, like, Phoenix just gave me bad juju. Our van got hit that night, and then the next morning I took vitamins on an empty stomach. I didn't know that that's not good, and then I threw up in the van, and I was just really down bad for like 20. But you know what?
It sounds like you learned a lot.
I did, and the TikTok went viral, and
so
honestly, it's like, you know what? You win some, you lose some. And I won that one.
It's a great story. Yeah. You made a lot of people laugh. And now you kind of, I think, finally put to rest, like, the age-old question of, like, are DJs just hitting play buttons? Like, now we know they're not.
They're not.
You
At
know?
least I'm not.
Confirmed.
And I'm not, like, a DJ, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're working on it.
I'm working on it.
Okay, we have another video from tour, which I also found hilarious, about a fan stealing one of your babies, one of your emotional support squishmallows.
Yeah.
Some fans stole my stuffed animal from the stage.
This guy right here, his name is Ding. Last night, Ding got abducted.
Please elaborate.
So his name is Ding.
Ding.
I've got a lot of plushies, and I like to name them like Ing with like a letter in front of it. So I have one named Ping. I got one named Bing. I got Ding. I got Wing.
King.
I got Ching.
Ching.
Ching is a chicken. Chicken, Ing, Ching. Anyways.
Chicken wing.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Ings in my life, but Ding's really special because my boyfriend, that was like the very first thing that he ever got me, like when we started dating. So like very sentimental, and I was like, oh, I'll just like bring him on tour and set him on top of the guitar amp every show. It's like kind of a vibe. I was going for like a very Y2K theme with like the plushies and stuff.
Yeah.
And so the night of the San Francisco show, literally second show till the last show, like we were like about to head back down to LA. It had been the whole month. I had Ding with me literally the whole month, and that night we're packing up, and I'm like, where is Ding? Like, I can't find him. And we're all, like, freaking out, and we're like, who took him? And, like, I think the amp was just too close to the front of the stage, and there was no, like, barrier at that venue, so, like, fans could literally just, like, grab it. And, like, and I was like, there's no way someone took him, right? And, like, we were all kind of, like, freaking out, and, like, the venue was kind of, like, shooing us out. They were like, you can't be here anymore, like, you have to, like, pack up and leave, it's past curfew. And, you know, I had, like, pretty much all my friends, like, come to the SF show. They had, like, driven up, and we were all, like, on our way to In-N-Out after the show, and, like, I was just sitting there, and I, like, sobbed. Like, I cried. And I felt really embarrassed, like, crying, too, just because it's, like...
No, that's so valid.
I didn't want people to, like, think, like, oh, she's a baby, she cries about her plushie, but, like, it was really sentimental to me,
I can absolutely relate. I had a stuffed animal that I was very attached to up until high school. Like, I kept it way too long.
Yeah.
But I lost it. I left it in a hotel room, and I remember that event because it was, like, traumatic. Like,
it is traumatic. It's so dramatic.
I think you can absolutely get emotionally attached to inanimate objects. Like, that's valid.
I hella cried, and then it was really sweet. Like, my friends were like, don't be embarrassed. Like, we all understand. Like, it is, like, something that's, like, pretty sentimental and special to you. And so then I went through the stages of grief, so I was, like, sad, and then I was like,
Acceptance.
you know what, I'm fucking angry, like, so I put on my story, I was like, you know what, like, whoever took Ding, like, please give him back, like, I won't be mad at you, but, like, that was so uncool. And then I was, like, sitting at In-N-Out, and everyone's, like, having a good time enjoying their burgers, and I'm just, like, the whole time I'm just, like, on my phone, looking at my, like, Instagram DMs.
We
and I was
will
like,
find Ding.
someone needs to message me right now. So then I posted, I said, I am going to withhold the album until Ding is returned. I wasn't, like, serious, but, like, I was kind of serious in the moment. And I just, like, it was just a sad night. I cried a lot. And then I was going to bed. It was, like, 1 a.m., and I get a DM from this account, this random account, no profile picture, no followers, and the account username is Return Ding to Tiff. And I'm like, God, I, like, woke everyone up in the room. I was like, guys.
Oh, my God.
And they had messaged me, and they said, we're so sorry, like, my friend got drunk, and he just kind of, like, took Ding, and we feel so awful, and then we'll meet you anywhere in SF to give him back, or, like, we can ship him to you, like, we just want to make sure that he, like, gets home safe to you.
That's so good, though.
And I was like, you know what, like, I'm going to be super mature about this. I'm not mad. If anything, I'm, like, grateful that they had, like, reached out, because I feel like some people probably would have been too embarrassed to even reach out. And so I was like, I'm not mad at you, but, like, could I just see a photo, baby?
I need to see if this is the real Ding.
Right, exactly. I was like, I don't know if they're trying to, like,
son.
bait me. And so then they gave this answer like, oh, we left him in the Uber. And I was like, oh, maybe they're, like, trying to bait me right now because they're making excuses. Oh. So I went to bed. I woke up at, like, 7 a.m. the next morning to check my DMs. And I got a picture, and it was of Ding. And I was like, oh, my God, like, he's alive. Like, he's... And so then we met up at, like, the corner of this park. And it was, like, it wasn't, like, sketchy. We kind of just, like, pulled up in the van.
It's like a Squishmallow drug deal?
It was, like, a 12-seater, like, Sprinter van that we had. So, like, everyone was, like, in the van watching as these two dudes who are, like, mid-20s, maybe, like, just, like, walk up and they're like, we're so sorry. And they just, like, gave him back. And I was like, it's okay, guys. Like, he said just, he was like, we really hope we didn't ruin your time in San Francisco. Like, please don't think poorly of San Francisco. Like, you can think poorly of us, but not of San Francisco. And I was like, it's okay, guys. Like, but I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. But, like, it's okay. So then I grabbed Ding and I returned home. And then my boyfriend actually was the one who, he was like, you know, it'd be kind of funny if you, like, you know, took Ding and told the crowd in LA that he got kidnapped. But, like, you gotta yell, like, in, like, MMA voice, like, we got him back. And so then I did that, and, like, someone got a good video of it, and people fucking loved that shit online.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe what poor Ding went through.
Right?
He was alone in San Francisco with strangers.
I know.
He got kidnapped.
He really got kidnapped.
That is...
But I got him back. He's back on his rightful little shelf in my
Good.
bedroom, and
Good.
that's all that matters.
Living his best little Squishmallow life.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one more from tour.
Okay.
When you went on tour, but you had no money to hire a crew, so you did everything yourself.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know?
This is funny, but I also feel like this is like a very important conversation.
Yeah.
Because I think people vastly underestimate what goes into making a music career happen, especially if you are, you know, from Kansas. You know, you're not a Nepo baby. You're out here doing everything you can with no connections. Like, tell us about how you were able to pull off a tour.
I've been DIYing like everything
Yeah.
in my career for
As
like
you should.
as like early as I can remember. I'm like independent, I'm unsigned. At that time, I didn't have managers. I had like left my previous management in December, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna do this, like, and we're just gonna see what happens. And like, I probably spent a solid 2 months, even like pre-tour, just like booking everything, like the Sprinter van, the lodging. I spent like 2 to 3 days just like looking for really good deals on Airbnb and like budgeting and like calculating the routes, which cities we were gonna stop at, and then like I didn't even understand certain concepts like advancing is like usually something like a tour manager does where they talk to like the promoters and people at the venue and figure out the schedule. And like, so I just kind of took the reins and I was talking to like all 15 different venue people and being like, okay, so check like load-ins this time and sound checks this time. And like, it got really overwhelming because I was just like, my brain can't like I feel like my brain is more designed for like the artistic creation process of it all versus like the more managerial duties.
Oh, yeah.
But I was just kind of like, you know what, like, I'm just going to do it all. And, like, if I need help at certain points, like, I'll reach out to people. But, like, for the most part, like, I, like, managed quite well on my own. I think, like, the experience probably taught me, like, playing all these different roles taught me, like, what I love doing and what I really enjoy doing versus, like, what next time I will definitely hand somebody else the job to do. And, like I programmed all of the lights that happened like behind me. My drummer had basically like taught me how to use the program, and then I just locked myself in my room for like a week like programming. I feel like I developed epilepsy from it. But I programmed all the lights. I did the whole like set design like on the stage, and like even going to the shows, like in that TikTok we do like load in and load out, and like for a leg of the tour it was genuinely just me and Ross. Ross is my drummer, and like other legs we had friends that joined us, so it was like a little different, but like there were
nice.
nights.
They would help you set up and stuff.
Right, yeah. And we had an air mattress on the stage because we were trying to kind of emulate like a Y2K bedroom pop feel on the stage. And my opener at the time, Alex Sheet was bringing like their own drum kit, and so we'd have to basically strike the mattress after our sound check and then reset it up after she finished playing. But it's like hard because like Ross also has to like set up other things, so like I didn't want to like put it all on Ross. And like that night we had like nobody else, and so I was like, you know what, like no one's gonna know, like I'll just do it. And so I put on like this big hoodie, I put on the mask and everything, I put my hood up, and it was so funny because like I went out there and I started inflating the air mattress and like putting out the carpet and everything. And like I could like feel the energy behind me. Like people were like starting to be like, "Oh, that's Tiffany," because they could see me with my platform shoes like underneath my jeans. And one dude whispered, he goes, "Tiffany, is that you?" And I literally
like, shut up.
I turned around and I was like, "No, it's not me."
Who's Tiffany?
I was like, huh?
I was just hired for the day.
Definitely looked like me in the video though. It was just funny, like the way they stared at me. But yeah, it was fucking challenging, and honestly, that's probably the most involved and hands-on I'll ever be for a tour.
Yes.
But I think it was a very humbling and like experience, and I'm also very just grateful that I like went through it. Regardless of how stressful it was, I think it was like a really good thing for me as an artist to go through, because now I can fully understand the importance of like every other person's role when I start like really adding in like a bigger team to, you know, like the whole touring production side of things.
Totally.
As like life and career progresses.
But I think that's just going to make you like not only a better artist, but just a more well-rounded, grateful, humble person.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be able to, when you do have those people to help you, like, oh my gosh, I remember when I had to do this.
Exactly. And it's like, I appreciate you so much, because like I used to do this and that shit was not fun or not easy.
No.
And like, I feel like it helps me develop a new appreciation for the work that like people are doing for me.
Absolutely. That was actually my first real job. I was a booking agent. So
Oh,
like
really?
advancing and all that stuff. That just gave me like PTSD. But I actually had the same realization. I'm like, that I don't want to be on the back end of it.
Yeah.
But that's probably a good thing for you too, you know, to realize that about yourself. And we have one last one about tour. Oh. And it's kind of tying into what we were just talking about, how you have to do all of this stuff and you're paying for all of this, and you may not even turn a profit.
Yeah.
This is the one. So do you feel like investing everything you did, like not only financially but all of your energy, your time, now that the tour has been wrapped, was it worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was worth it. And like, not even in the ways that you'd think like, oh, I like, you know, had like made money, or like, oh, I, you know, got my name out there, or like more publicity or whatever. Like, I think the biggest thing that I took away from this tour that is just simply priceless is just like the feelings of fulfillment that I felt ending the tour. And like, I've never worked on something so hard in my life, and so to like leave that stage in LA, like the closing night, like my friend Henry's making a documentary about like the whole tour, and it's really cool. But there's this one scene where you see me backstage, like as soon as I got off the stage, I was just sobbed, like into my boyfriend's arms. I just sobbed for like a solid 30 seconds, and like
tears of joy.
Yeah, they were like tears of joy, tears of like pride. Like there was like even a moment, and like honestly, I'll probably remember, not to be dramatic, but I'll probably remember this moment for the rest of my life. I was like standing on stage, and the LA show had like just finished. I just played my last song, and I had just basically said like, thank you so much for everything. And like the people were, you know, cheering, and like I don't like, usually I like stand there for a little bit and let them cheer, and then I kind of just like run backstage. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna feel this. Like I'm just gonna feel the impact of this, and like all these people around me. And like I also said into the mic, I was like, I'm not one to like brag, and I'm not one to like tell people how hard I've worked, but like this is the one moment in my life where I feel like it's justified for me to tell you, like I worked my fucking ass off. Like in this past month, I drove over 8,000 miles with my drummer, like just the two of us, like throughout the entire country. And like I've never been more proud of myself. And like, you know, I said to them, I was like, I programmed these lights, I programmed this whole show, like I designed this like set, and you know, had like bought everything, and like the amount of applause that it wasn't even like the applause, it was just like the energy in the room that I had felt. It was just so like, I had never felt so proud of myself, and I had never felt so like...
You must have just felt so in the moment.
Yeah. And I started crying. I actually started tearing up, and I was like trying to like stop myself, and everyone saw me tear up, and so they kept screaming even harder, and that made me tear up even more. So it was like probably like 30 seconds to a minute of me just standing there almost crying with everyone screaming at me, and it was like the craziest experience in my life.
I actually love that though. When I go to a concert and I see an artist like actually really taking it in, because I feel like as an artist, especially when you're on tour, you're playing the same show so many nights, it can kind of start to feel...
It gets kind of repetitive, you know? Yeah.
So I do enjoy when I'm in a crowd and I can tell that the artist is like actually having a moment. You know, they're not just going through the motions. They're really like soaking it in.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is like, it's very easy to become very performative on stage, because that's the whole point. It's like you are performing, but I try to make it like, even though I'm saying pretty much the same things every night, like I try to just make it fun, you know? It's like, yes, this is my job, I'm up on stage, I'm performing, but also like try to incorporate little like weird dance moves in that I would only do in my bedroom and stuff. Like just like throw new shit in there that it like makes you feel like it's a fun activity, and it's not just like your job. It's like not just like another show every night. It's like, and it's fun too, because the crowds are different every night, and so it's like, you know, you can kind of see what they're fucking with more, and like it kind of all varies, you know? But yeah, I think I like genuinely just the feelings that I have about my career, and like how much re-inspired I guess I felt from this tour, like that's super priceless for me, because I was beating myself up a lot before the tour had even started. I was just like, I'm not selling these tickets well, like only 120 people in this room, like what the fuck, like I should be selling like 200, 300 plus. And then you walk into a room with like 120 people, and like, that's a lot of people.
Dude.
And then you're like, this isn't as bad as I like made it to be in my head. This is actually fucking awesome.
I love that comparison, especially in terms of social media, because people will beat themselves up, be like, oh my gosh, my post only got 200 likes or 300 likes or whatever. But when you think about the visual of like 200 or 300 people in a room supporting you, being like, I like you.
Yeah,
it's a lot
of people. I think
our brains are just so distorted with like, seeing big
very
numbers.
Numb to just numbers on a screen now, which is like, I was like the other day, I don't remember where I was, but I was just kind of sitting there thinking like, damn, like I miss tour. But it's not even like I miss tour because I miss tour, but it was more just like I miss tour because it was like
real.
You get to see, it was real. It was real. And like a lot of, life right now is very social media, virtual, like, and tour was just so real to be in a room with like people every night. Like that's so real. And that's something that's just like priceless. I don't give a fuck like how expensive that shit costs. Okay, I do, but like I don't, you know what I mean? Like it was just real, and that was an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. So
hey, I'm so glad. And for those of you guys that didn't get to catch her on tour, we're gonna give you a little taste of the tour. We have two songs?
Yeah.
2 acoustic performances coming your way right here. Should we do it?
Yeah, let's do
Well, I'm not doing it, but trust. Y'all don't want to hear that, but I'll let her take it away.
This one is called Should I Be Okay? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Had a boy over Tuesday night, and I spent a few hours getting high earlier that day, 'cause I get really nervous and I fix it with weed. He was coming over, I was feeling the heat. Kissed me and gave me butterflies, and I asked him if he could spend the night. Hey, we talked for fucking hours, it went past 3 a.m. He held me in his arms, we glued together in bed. Now I think about him all the time, like I used to do when you were mine. Something about him and he feels so nice. Should I be okay? 'Cause I'm happy and I've met somebody. Do we mean a thing? If I'm happy, so then so it's only been over a month. I'm so quick to fall in love, and of course I know it's rushed, but damn it feels so right. Oh, should I be okay? 'Cause I'm kissing him, but I'm not thinking of the way you taste. I don't miss you anymore, it's only been over a month. I'm so quick to fall in love, and of course I know it's rushed, but damn it feels so right. Oh, calling him on the phone at night, and I'm telling him all about my life. I've been saying to my friends, I think I finally met somebody I like. Should I feel these feelings if these feelings ain't right? Promise I give myself the time, 'cause I spent the whole year outside my mind. Yeah, I got so much learning for myself left to do. You never thought I'd meet somebody new so damn soon. Now I think about him all the time, like I used to do when you were mine. Something about him and he feels so nice. Should I be okay? 'Cause I'm happy and I met somebody. Do we mean a thing? If I'm happy, so damn soon. It's only been over a month. I'm so quick to fall in love, and of course I know it's rushed, but damn it feels so right. Oh, should I be okay? 'Cause I'm kissing him, but I'm not thinking of the way you taste. I don't miss you anymore, it's only been over a month. I'm so quick to fall in love, and of course I know it's rushed, but damn it feels so right. Oh, should I be okay? 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 Should I, should I, should I, should I, should I, should I, hey? Should I be okay? 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 Should I, should I, should I, should I, should I, should I? Should I be okay? Should I be okay? That was good.
There we go.
Dude, I'm like, my voice is like a little under the weather, but I like the like
Love it.
raspiness
Yep.
of it. It's like kind of fun. I just smoke a couple cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Okay, next song.
All right. And then.
You heard Okay, I was like, what the fuck, the first word? This next one, and my last one of the night, is called If I Don't Text You First. 1, 2, 3, 4. Loving you, I don't wanna fix you. I know we both got different issues, but I wanna be the girl you see that you can't get enough of. It's way too damn easy to love you, but you can't reciprocate my time. You say you care, you say you think about me. Why can't you just reach out, play it with my feelings? Hey, oh, it's a blind, so give no fuss about it. I just wanna hear ya tell me that you need. And if I don't text you first, I don't think that we would ever talk at all. And I don't know what's worse, being with you and not being with you at all. I gave it a chance, I gave you energy. It's clear to me that you can make this work. So tell me, baby, what's the point of loving if you're already gone? You won't come back. You said it yourself, I think you need help. So why do wait for you? Not doing too well. Running through my mind, I said I'm fine, but really I'm the fool. You say you care, you say you think about me. Why can't you just reach out, play it with my feelings? Hey, oh, it's a blind, so give no fuss about it. I just wanna hear ya tell me that you need. And if I don't text you first, I don't think that we would ever talk at all. And I don't know what's worse, being with you and not being with you at all. I gave it a chance, I gave you energy. It's clear to me that you can't make this work. Tell me, baby, what's the point of loving if you're already gone? You're already gone. You're already gone. No good. You're already gone. You're already gone.
All right, y'all. That is a wrap. Tiffany, thank you so much for coming out. You were
Thank you for having me.
a wonderful guest. I hope you enjoyed your first podcast experience.
It's very fun.
Not
It's
too
very
bad?
chill. It kind of just felt like a conversation.
I love
so
that.
that's like the best part. Yeah.
That's what I aim for. And if you want to shout out any of your socials, any plugs, now is the time. The floor is yours.
Which camera? This
This one.
You can find me on all social media platforms under Tiff Did What. Like
Tiff did
what? Yeah, that's kind of what we're kind of going for. And then my artist name, which was probably already like blasted in the title of the video, but Tiffany Day. So I'm on Spotify and Apple Music and all that, good stuff.
All the things.
Yeah.
Tiffany Day.
Yeah, Tiffany Day. That's me.
That's a wrap, y'all.